men who are on the MAGA side, I really want to say, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that we white women were so intimidating and scary. Have you seen all the scary bad things that we've been doing in Minneapolis? And all of us scary white women out there protesting our federal government and the way they're overstepping their boundaries? I really thought that you guys would be all for that kind of thing. I mean, you were all don't tread on me and the government can't tell us to wear a mask and get immunizations, but now you're all like, yeah, the government should tell women what they do with their bodies, and yeah, the federal government should go into states even if those states don't want them. I'm so confused. My poor little female brain doesn't know what to do. And my little weak self, I feel so scared. I just need some big, strong MAGA man to explain everything to me.
Hold up, she's pointing out something real here. The whole don't tread on me energy, but only when it's convenient, that's called selective principles. You can't spend years screaming about government overreach, then cheer when that same government starts controlling other people's bodies. That's not consistency, that's just picking sides. And here's what drives me crazy. People got so focused on winning against the other team. They stopped asking if their own team even made sense. It's not about left or right anymore. It's about, do you actually stand for something, or do you just stand against whatever makes you feel superior? Because when your principles disappear the moment they become inconvenient, those aren't principles. That's just tribalism.
Are you upset with them making money? Hey, you can't.
Don't like the United States is kind of trash.
Okay.
Doesn't treat its people well. You know.
How so?
I don't really know why you're having this. Do you want to have a conversation?
Well, that's why I'm asking you. How so?
What do you mean?
You said the United States treats its people like trash, so I was just asking how.
I mean, right now, how many people are suffering because they can't afford health care? Let's start with there. How about?
Got it. Well, Trump just slashed prescription drug prices by 50 to 80%.
So that
Are you
prescription
unhappy with
drug
that?
sellers can raise their prices. I mean, he's just working for fucking capitalism.
Well, he actually isn't taking a salary. And
don't
he's also
care.
lost $1 billion in his net worth from the first administration when he the first time he ran.
But he's taking money from literally anyone who
Okay.
who will pay for his stupid fucking coin, his what is it? Trump coin,
Cryptocurrency.
Dogecoin, I don't
Yeah,
know.
there's a lot of cryptocurrencies that people make money off of. Are you upset with him making money? Hey, you can't.
Don't
Y'all, I can't make this crap up. Minnesota police chief just stated that 24 of his officers have just quit. 19 of them went to ICE to help their country, to help their state. You cannot make this crap up. People, insurrection, I hope it comes so soon. It can't be soon enough.
Did she just say she hopes for insurrection? No. Full stop. You don't get to call for overthrowing the government because you're mad. That's not patriotism. That's not resistance. That's just destruction. And the scariest part, she means it. Like this is some kind of noble cause. Here's reality. When you normalize political violence as a solution, everyone loses, including you. So if you're this angry, channel it somewhere productive. Organize, vote, build coalitions, run for office. But calling for chaos, that doesn't make you brave. It makes you dangerous.
So my dad is MAGA, and I'm obviously not. And we are very close. And the last, 6 months to a year have been really hard. Right, because he's been defending and defending and defending. And I've had to dig really, really deep, spending time with him, knowing how he feels and what he supports. And it was sort of okay because it wasn't so blatant. And then after the Zelensky meeting yesterday, the embarrassment, the shock, the shame. And I woke up this morning in tears as soon as I woke up, because I realized that for me, that was the straw. That was the swan song. And I think I have to end my relationship with my dad. I can't. Because if he can watch the things he's been seeing, assuming that he's actually seeing the truth, and not just watching one station that feeds him the information he wants. But if he can see all that's been going on, the taking away of human rights, the hatred, the isolation, the dictatorship, all of the things, if he can have seen all of that and still support that, that means that he is not a good human being. And I can't have him in my life. I can't. And so I woke up this morning thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? Because I'm very, very close to my mom, and I'm pretty sure that she would prefer to be on the blue side, but she needs to keep peace in her home. I mean, she's in her 80s, and I understand that. But she will defend him, and she will tell me that if I don't have contact with him, I can't have contact with her. But I can't continue, because every time I'm with him, I get a feeling in the pit of my stomach, and I feel sick, because he's somebody who didn't believe that January 6th was a bad thing, or that police officers were hurt. When I asked him about it, I said, you're so pro police officer. I said, 5-6 of them died. Well, what are you talking about? And I said, what about the one that was beaten? And he said, he had a stroke. And I said, he had a stroke because they beat the shit out of him. And he just can't get there. And so I just realized that if he can see all of the things, and if he could look at yesterday and think that is defensible and not think it's disgraceful and disgusting, that can only mean that he's not a good person. And I can't be around him. So I'm just hoping that others who are dealing with this or have dealt with this, I would love some thoughts, some comments, some feedback. If there's a way for me to mentally be okay with this, I don't see a way. I don't see a path to that. So would love some feedback. Thank you.
This one, God, this hurts. Because you can hear it in her voice. This isn't some random person. This is her dad, someone she loves, and now she feels like she has to choose. Look, I'm not going to tell you what to do with your family. That's your decision. But here's what I know. Cutting someone off permanently, that's not something you undo. And before you do it, you need to ask yourself, is this about them, or is this about how their beliefs make you feel? Because people can change. Not always, not quickly, but they can. And sometimes, the only way they change is by having someone they love challenge them, not with anger, but with honesty. So have the hard conversation. Set boundaries. Say, I love you, but I can't be around this rhetoric. Then give them a choice. Because family is complicated, and burning bridges, that should be the last resort, not the first.
I am going to who did they vote for to the motherfucking ground. Like, any scenario, my family will tell me, like, good news about a person we know. Like, they got their dream job, they're getting married, they're having a child. But who did they vote for before I decide I'm happy for them and I'm gonna congratulate them? Or, like, I'll be told something, like, really tragic about someone and I'll be like, didn't they vote for this person? Why would I feel bad for them? It's really sinister. I was actually at a bar recently and I was talking to this guy. I was not interested in this guy. I was literally only talking to him because my friend was talking to his friend. And he starts inching closer to me and I'm like, oh no, this man is gonna kiss me. Oh, light bulb moment. I know he didn't vote for Kamala. I'm gonna kill the vibe real quick. I proceed to go, wait, before you step any closer, I need to kill the vibe and ask you who you voted for. He proceeds to tell me he didn't vote at all. So I was like, okay, cool, this is done. And then I proceed to find out his friend asked me, why aren't you talking to my boy anymore? And I'm like, well, he told me he didn't vote. And he goes, why are you guys even talking about this right now? Like, we're at a bar. And I'm like, who'd you vote for? He refused to respond. I ended up just leaving the bar screaming at him, telling him he hates women and he should stop speaking to and dating them because you don't like them. Yeah, I'm just gonna be that person that kills the vibe for the rest of my life.
Okay, so, real talk. I get having standards. I get not wanting to date someone whose values make you sick. That's fair. But when every interaction becomes a political interrogation, when you're screaming at strangers in bars, you're not fighting the system. You're just exhausting yourself. And here's the thing. When you make your entire personality about who you don't want to associate with, you stop living your life. You're just reacting to everyone else's. So have boundaries, absolutely. But don't make every moment a war, because life's too short to spend it killing vibes.
So I've been posting a lot about the political tensions of young people today, where young liberal women do not want to date young conservative men. And I get a lot of angry comments from men who say, young women think that they don't want conservative men, but they're wrong. So let's talk for a minute about what it is that women are actually looking for from their partners today. The dating app Hinge just released some data a couple weeks ago talking about what women are looking for from a partner. And they report that the top 3 characteristics of a high-value partner for a woman include being emotionally available, being responsive to and acknowledging their emotional needs, and being a consistent communicator. Women are simply looking for emotional intelligence from their partner. Women were also asked about the expectations they had around financial contributions of a partner, and only 8% of women indicated that they expected their partner to be the sole financial provider in the relationship. The vast majority of women simply expect men to contribute financially to the relationship. So this trope that men need to be the providers in relationships is deeply outdated. Women do not want this big, strong man who needs to be dominant and who provides in the relationship. Women are simply looking for effort, looking for emotional intelligence. They're looking for someone who's going to show up and contribute in the relationship. They don't want to be your mom. Instead of telling women that they're wrong about what they actually want, you should try and listen a little bit harder about what it is that they say. This gets back a little bit to this idea that women want men who are going to value their thoughts, feelings, and opinions. If you don't see women as people, they're not going to want to date you.
Thank you. Finally, women aren't asking for the impossible here. They're not demanding you be rich. They're not expecting you to be perfect. They want emotional intelligence. They want communication. They want effort. That's it. And yet so many men are like, I don't understand what women want. Bro, they told you, with words, with data, multiple times. But instead of listening, you're out here complaining that women have standards. Here's the reality. If you can't see women as equals, as people with their own thoughts, feelings, autonomy, then yeah, you're gonna struggle. Because no one wants to date someone who sees them as a prop, a servant, a fantasy object. So stop treating relationships like transactions. Stop acting entitled to love, and ask yourself, what am I actually bringing to the table? Am I emotionally available? Do I respect women? If the answer's no, the problem isn't them.
I have a migraine, so I hope this makes sense, but I think one of the difficulties that I've processed with what's going on in our society right now in the US is the realization of how many people walk around with so much just disdain for people that don't look like them and don't act like them, and this like sense of superiority that they need in order to fulfill some kind of lack in their ego. I don't know what needs to happen, but I hope you heal.
This is deeper than politics. She's talking about the realization that some people just hate. They hate anyone different, and they need that hate to feel superior, and that's what's breaking people. The realization that folks they thought were good aren't. Here's the thing. You can debate policy, but you can't logic someone into respecting your humanity. So, if you're dealing with this, you don't owe anyone access to your peace, but don't let their hate consume you either. Protect your boundaries, but don't lose sight of what you're fighting for. Their disdain, that's their burden, not yours.
This is another huge part of it. I will literally be like talking with them and they'll be like, yeah, it's terrible what Trump's doing to the economy, blah, 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 blah. Or they'll be like, wow, yeah, everyone deserves human rights. And then I meet their boyfriend, and their boyfriend is the most Republican, Trump-supporting man I've ever met. And it's always just so shocking because I'm like, how it's like a stark contrast to who they are as a person and who they're dating. And I'm like, do you actually believe what you're telling me, or is it just like a phase? Like, do you actually think that Kamala Harris would be a good president, or is it just performative activism so you don't seem like a bad person? Like, I just don't understand it ever.
So not only are, people who support Trump garbage, the women who support him are not strong or intelligent. Where are my conservative women at? Because you're not strong or intelligent, according to Mark Cuban. He's already having to, backtrack on X. Just like Biden tried to say, well, I didn't call people garbage. Foot in mouth disease. Democrats are showing their true colors this entire election cycle. And people either see it or they don't. And if they don't see it, there's no helping them. Because they'll never see it. They're completely brainwashed.
Look, calling an entire group not strong or intelligent, that's not okay from anyone. But here's where it gets complicated. If you voted for policies that actively harm other people, then yeah, people will question your values. Not because you're stupid, but because your vote has consequences. Real consequences for real people. So you can't support policies that hurt others, then act shocked when people judge you for it. That's not unfair. That's accountability. You don't have to agree with everyone, but own your choices. Don't play victim when there are consequences.
What's up, TikTok? So Trump's got everybody in an uproar, man. He is shaking and baking. He has got the women saying that they're going to shave their head, they're going to cut all their hair off, and they're going to cut men out. They're not going to give them any attention and no sex. Well, that shit happened way before Trump. Y'all already fucking do that? Can you come up with something else? I just think it's funny as shit. We're gonna cut men off. You already cut us off. What difference does it fucking make? I'm glad I voted for Trump now. It wouldn't have made a damn bit of difference if I wouldn't have. Oh, man, it's so funny. Anyway, thanks for cutting us off, but I wouldn't shave your head if I were you. Have a good day.
Women already cut us off anyway. Buddy, listen to yourself. If women in your life have already cut you off, maybe the problem isn't them. This whole women don't want us anyway attitude, it's a defense mechanism. It's easier to pretend you don't care than admit maybe you're not showing up right. The guys in healthy relationships, they're not posting videos like this. They're not complaining women already abandoned them. They're showing up, putting in effort, being partners. So instead of laughing at women's frustration, maybe try understanding it. Because the joke, it's on you if you don't.
Hey, it's Joe from Georgia. So some polling came out, and it's not really political polling, but it kind of is, because it does involve conservative men and more liberal women, or basically all women versus the conservative men. And it asked what they were looking for in relationships. Well, the conservative men were all about looks. They were all about these beautiful women who were perfectly built, no matter what the guy looks like. They wanted this perfect woman who would stay at home, raise children, cook meals, and basically be their servant. Well, the women who came back in that poll, that was none of the stuff they were looking to do in a relationship. They were actually looking for love and someone to enjoy life with, not someone who was going to be a dictator over them and tell them when and where and what they could do. Well, conservative men are finding out through this, in this poll, what the numbers were of how many of them were not in a relationship or had been in one that didn't last. And it was a ton of the conservative guys were like, oh no, I haven't got a serious relationship. And they didn't have a lot of second dates. And now the women said they'd rather just not go out on dates if they were going to end up with someone who was so far right wing that they didn't even know that the woman in front of them even existed. So the conservative men who are walking around with long looks on their faces, maybe if you had changed just a little bit of what your expectations are and actually really change it, then maybe you'll get a date.
And there it is. The data doesn't lie. These guys want a fantasy, a perfect woman who stays home, never questions anything, exists to serve. But women want a partner, someone who builds with them, someone who sees them as an equal. And that disconnect, that's why second dates aren't happening. You can't expect someone to mold themselves into your outdated ideal. while you bring nothing to the table but expectations. So if you're struggling, here's the tough love. Change your expectations. Stop looking for a servant. Start looking for an equal. Stop obsessing over looks. Value character, intelligence, partnership. Until you do, you'll keep getting rejected. And honestly, you'll deserve it.
Breaking news, Donald Trump just shared a text message, a screenshot of a text message he just received from the president of France. As you know, earlier, about an hour ago, he made the comment that he would be possibly putting a 200% tariff on French wines and champagnes if Emmanuel Macron did not join his board of peace. But in his text message, the president of France said, "My friend, we are totally in line on Syria. We can do great things on Iran. I do not understand what you're doing on Greenland. Let us try to build great things. I can set up a G7 meeting after Davos in Paris on Thursday afternoon. I can invite the Ukrainians, the Danish, the Syrians, the Russians in the margins. Let us have dinner together in Paris together on Thursday before you go back to the U.S. Emmanuel, who, according to Emmanuel himself, is a friend of the president. So if you're in France and you don't like America, your president is friends with...
So what's the real lesson here? Politics has invaded everything, and it's tearing us apart. But this isn't about sides. This is about what happens when people stop seeing each other as human beings, when ideology becomes more important than empathy, connection, love. So here's my challenge. Whatever you believe, ask yourself, are my beliefs making me a better person or just angrier? Because life's too short to spend it hating, too short to destroy your family over disagreements, too short to scream at strangers. Find your values, set boundaries, but don't lose your humanity. Drop a comment. Is there still hope for real conversation, or are we too far gone? If this hit home, smash that like button and subscribe, because this mess, it's not going anywhere. See you next time. Claude is AI and can make mistakes. Please double check responses.